Hello and welcome to Let's Create Games, episode number 3. This is the last of the basic tutorials. We covered HTML in the first episode, we covered CSS in the second one, and this one is about JavaScript. Again, these are very basic tutorials to give you an overview why things work in a web page, and it's the absolute basics on how to create games, so this is going to be exciting. JavaScript is a programming language which happens to be built into all of the major browsers. The JavaScript Interpreter is a piece of software that is built into the browser and takes JavaScript commands and executes them on the fly while loading the page and while doing things on the page. So this is the major mechanism to drive our web apps or to drive our games. We don't start by using the HTML file, but by starting the console, or actually not starting, but showing it, which we can do here. Let's make this a little bit larger. So we're looking into the JavaScript console, and the interpreter is waiting for us to enter some commands so that this command can be executed. As in all programming languages, there are certain keywords that you need, but see what happens if I type just something into it. It says something is not defined. Well, I need to define it then. I do this with a var keyword. Now it doesn't give an error message, it just gives undefined, because yes, we defined, told it that there is a variable called something, but it has no value, so it's undefined. So let's give it a value. Now something has a value, and the interpreter also already returns the content of the variable as if I typed this again. We need to go into more depth concerning loops and conditionals and all the things that make a programming language, but for the moment let's see how JavaScript interacts with the browser. The browser defines an object called window, which is accessible through JavaScript. It's not part of the JavaScript definition, it's part of the browser, but you can access the window object through JavaScript. As an example, you can type window.screen.width. If I just return, it gives me 1280, which happens to be the width of this laptop. If I just want the width of this very document, then I have to type and this is the number that's the width of the document. If I make this smaller, I can get the last command with cursor up, and it says then gives a different value. So let's see how this works in the HTML file. To add JavaScript to your web page, you simply need to add the script tag. And there you can enter JavaScript code. So let's see what happens. Nothing happens actually. Why is that? Because what happens in the interpreter, that it returns the value immediately, does not happen when the page gets executed. So I need to write this somewhere, and I do this by writing this to the document. Actually, it would be, in the most complete way, it would be window.document, but you can write document as a shortcut. So if we save this and we load, then we see the width of the page of this document, of this tab, is displayed here. If I make it smaller, the value changes. So that's cool, but I don't want it there. I would want it maybe between these paragraphs. Okay, so let's just move the script over there. Save it, reload, and yes, it changed the position. So sometimes you don't want to write to the document. Sometimes you do want, sometimes you don't want. So you might want, for example, for debugging purposes, might want to write to the console. There's a method for that too, and an object, which is called, the object is called console, and the method is called log. So if we do that and reload, then this number appears on the console over here. Also note that I didn't define, well, if I say something equals, var something equals hello, I execute that, then I have a variable called something. If I reload the page, then this is gone because the scope gets replaced again. Now let's do a small calculation. Var a equals 1. As you can see, variables can have values like numbers too, or strings, like we did with something. Var b equals, I don't know, 4. Var c equals a plus b. Console log c should give us a 5. So if we want to have this right in the document, again, we can change that to document, By the way, this is case sensitive. You need to do your uppercases right. So 5 gets inserted here. If I change the value to something else and reload, everything's cool. Also note that we can access the variables a, b, and c via console. So that's a great thing if you want to debug and if you want to find out what's happening. As I showed before, you can also show the, for example, the, what isn't window title? It was window screen. Oh, document bottom. Title, which is wrong, by the way. So in JS example, and reload. Okay, so now we saw how to enter JavaScript on the console, how to enter JavaScript in your web page, and in the next episode we will make something more useful by introducing events and interaction with the user. So see you then. Thank you.